All right, welcome to the 10-minute trading room. This is how to trade in only 10 minutes a day and exactly how to take the guesswork out of trading. Now, I will say we're going to change some things up and we're going to be looking at outlier trades. Now, with our outlier trades, there's a few things we need to look at, but I do want to set the market posture real quick. So the SPY, we want to see the 10 period over the 20 period, price over the 50 period. So this is a bullish posture here. MMFI, 43% or so. And then FinClub came through green. Now that makes today a transition day still because MMFI is not there. And I got to tell you, now we have this opportunity to work with these outlier trades. I'm going to be using them a lot, especially having had the results that I did. Now, like I say, been working with this process. It's a little bit of still work in progress, but making it happen. So first we're going to start with the outlier data. Then we're going to drop it in our relative strength scanner. We're going to look at the current outlier color, which is actually something that I missed. And then we'll look at the liquidity and then put on position size. What do I mean by outlier color? Now, when I spoke to them today, they were ultra impressed that I went to these efforts to figure out what colors inside of their platform. Do I have it up here? What colors inside of their platform was I even looking at? And they were like, wow. Yes, all of these have a numerical value associated with them on the back end, but for the fact that I went out of my way to find the color code, they were like, wow, you're taking this really serious. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So what's really cool about this too is that all the data comes early in the day. So I actually had my plan ready to go before the market opened. We're going to be looking to go long SPY, and actually we need to take off one trade, and that's an SBLK. So let's do that first. Now, you always got to look to take off risk first. SBLK, in fact, let's go through all of our open trades real quick. So CL has been tremendous. What a fantastic trade this has been. From 78 down to 74.5 right now. And so far, this is looking amazing. So let's take a look at CL. And what we want to see for an exit point is any one of these color codes. And in reality, I don't want you sitting there trying to figure out which color code it is. What we're trying to do is basically time using the data here when the move has gone far enough, and then when it's time to get out. So what we're looking for if we're selling short is a return to the pinks or the buy signal, whichever comes first. Like this, sell, return to the pinks. Now, we're not looking at just like the first pink, but, 3 or 4 shades deep. We are not there yet. We're still in the green. So I think this still has some room to run. So CL is going to stay on. Next is UBS, which I mentioned yesterday. I was very frustrated with UBS, but it has made a tremendous comeback, up 3.6%. Still has a long way to go. But let's take a look at UBS. And with UBS, switch the view over. We have a buy signal. We're looking for either darker greens or a sell to come up. And right now we're still on a pretty light green. So that has not reached the point of closing just yet. Next is NLY. This one hasn't been too great either. At least not so far. Now NLY, we don't have an exit signal on this yet. But that would be either a darker pink color like this or a buy point showing up. And we don't have either of those right now. So both of these, or all 3 of those so far, are going to stay on. Now, S-Black, Star Bulk, we do need to close today. And this was something that I learned working on it, SBLK, because when I got into it, I did not realize it was already on the shade of color that I need to get out. So learn from that. But yeah, because of that, it's already hit its exit point. So I do need to exit out of this one. So Star Bulk, I am closing this. SBLK. I'm closing the June 16th, 20 puts, which shows us nothing right here. That's weird. Let me refresh. There we go. Okay, I'm going to let that simmer for a minute, I suppose. Selling to close the June 16th, 20 puts. There it goes. See where I can get filled. I'm going to start at 255 and see how I can do. Oh, snap. Filled right away. Sweet. All right. That was filled. Was it filled at 255? Yes. Okay. Filled at 255. I may have been able to get out better, but that's what it was filled at. Okay. So let me go in the Discord, let y'all know. So trade number 1 closed. SBLK 20 puts. SBLK 6, 16, 23, $20 puts for 255. And that return for me, SBLK for 255. That was a, oh, sweet, 5.7% loss. Let me edit that real quick. There we go. All right, so we are out of SBLK. Better than I thought, actually, at only a 5% loss. So done with that one. Yorn. These look super Yorn. Okay, let me sidetrack a little bit, Yorn. We've already closed what we need to look at. Yorn. Dude, I'm super stoked. Thank you. You put me back on track. I want to actually real quick before I do that. Closed. I want to show you real quick, Yorn, what I had seen. So like I said, I went through 15 or 20 just back testing these. Check this out. Okay. So if I zoom out a little bit and let's take a look at, this is XLE. All right, so what I did was I went through and I added all these buy and sell lines onto a chart, okay? So what you see on the vertical lines, let me clean it up just a little bit so it's easier to see. That didn't help. All the vertical lines are either a buy or sell signal coming out of Outlier. Now, the conversation I had with them today was, guys, I think I can beat what you're doing. And they're like, how? So I said, okay. All of these have a buy or sell signal. Now, if the sell signal is under the 10 period moving average, so just easy trend following. If it's under the 10 period moving average, okay, wait until the colors turn, like I mentioned earlier. So like down here-ish, right? So selling here, waiting for the colors to turn into the right shades of pink. Boom, boom. All right, so that's a $14 winner. Next, a buy point here at July 25th. Right there, July 25th. Waiting for it to turn a certain, I don't even remember, certain shade of green. Boom, boom. Winner right there. So anyway, I just repeated the process over and over and over. And I was blown away. Blown away because it was 1, 2, 3, I can't see that one, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of 7 trades, 6 were winners. And I was like, ooh. All I did differently was take their entry and exit signals, throw the 10 period moving average, make sure it's on the same side of that, and then exit potentially earlier than their exits are, depending on the color. Depending on the oscillator color, I guess you could say. So 6 out of 7 winners. XLF. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 5 winners. XLI. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 out of 6 winners. XLK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 out of 7 winners. XLP. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 out of 4 winners. XLV. 1, 2, 3. Only 3 on that one. NVIDIA, because that's the one everyone's talking about right now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 3 winners. Huge. Every one of them. 3 out of 3 huge winners. Actually, no, I take that back. 2 out of 2. That's something else. Remove this. Yeah. Okay. So 2 out of 2 winners, both tremendous. Tesla, everyone's favorite to trade. 1, 2 out of 3. And then look at this, a $91 winner versus a $22 loser. Now, a $22 loser hurts, right? But when you get a $91 winner after that, it makes up for it quite a lot. So I go through all that to say, like, the potential of this is crazy. Crazy, crazy. Just taking their entry and exit signals, throwing it with traditional trend following 10-period exponential moving average, and just waiting for their data to start showing that the buy or sell signal has kind of reached its terminus point and is turning around. Boom. So I'm super stoked. What else I was stoked about today was on their list of trades. There weren't very many. I've already listed them all right here. But one of them was the SPY. And I was like, well, talk about timing for that. So we're going to go long the SPY. This morning, I was looking at it, and it actually, the one that I had picked is already up $4 from the point that I had would have bought it. I didn't actually buy it this morning because I was going to wait till the end of day. But I was like, okay, well, clearly this is definitely the right spot. Yorn says, what about half ATR stop loss? Yorn, I will say, as much as I want to contain the risk, if we do that, we're kind of invalidating their signals. So I'm basically looking at it of, I'm putting this on, I'm keeping my risk in check by position sizing correctly, and then we're just going to let it run until we hit that exit point. But the half ATR on these would go to the side. Mainly because, and SPY is a perfect example, because it actually can wobble quite a bit. It can wobble quite a bit before it reaches the actual exit point. Here's an example. Yorn says, all right, sounds good. For example, right, getting in here January 10th, see it go up and then back down basically to flat before it really has its run. Same with this one here, going short, losing, now coming back to flat and then going. So they don't always work right away, and I'd hate to miss our signal and then not participate in the trade before we get the exit signal. So the only thing to do is put on a trade in SPY. Now, I do want to preface this and say SPY runs a little different than most everything else. I mean, when you work on the indices, they don't trade quite the same. So I really was playing with this earlier today, and I'm like, what can I do? What can I trade? Because I don't want to pay a lot of extrinsic value. I'll tell you, the one I was looking at was 411 this morning. And this was under $10, because $10 is generally where I want to stick to or less. And it's already at nearly $14. And I was like, well, clearly that was a good one. But we're going to look right now, and I'm going to look at $10 or less. Now, this one here at $3 is right about 30% extrinsic value. So I can get on board with that. This morning, the 411 was around $10 was $4 of extrinsic value. So while it's not ideal, I am very interested in getting into the 415 calls on SPY. So I'm going to start working that order on the business account on the other screen and see where I can get. So it says 995 is the midpoint right now. Let's see if I can get filled at 995. Yep. My fill price was it exactly 995? Hang on. Filled at 995. Yep. Lock it down. Bam. All right. So I am long the SPY 415 calls at 995. Now, be sure, Yorn, when you're doing this, to have an appropriate position size, right? Because even though we're getting into these trades, we're not getting into these trades with the expectation of every time is going to win, because you just can't. Entry point, we're going to call it 421.52. Okay, I got my position sized, all good to go. So I'm in, and let me mark on here real quick. And we are good to go. Let me drop it in the Discord. That was SPY, June 23rd, 415 calls for $9.95. I'm really happy we got it in for $9.95. All right, so that's going to be it for trading today. Super stoked to be back in the market, be back in the game. Here is my results for the year so far. As you know, I try and be as transparent as possible. 2% for the year, but a lot of this time was just hanging out, waiting in transition days, as you all know. And then lately, we've had these tremendous trades in Outlier. Like I say, that pushed my account to new high. It's just like made enough to make back last year within just a couple of minutes. So that was pretty sweet. Not a couple of minutes, but a few days. But good to go there.